The Turkish government is cracking down on press freedom yet again. The International Business Times reports, quote, reporters working for Vice News in southeast Turkey were set to appear in court Monday to face accusations of terrorism. What? Vice reporters were doing terrorism. Interesting. They continue, the news crew was reporting in the city of Diyarbakir, a predominantly Kurdish region, when they were arrested Friday for lack of proper government accreditation. British citizens Jake Hanrahan and Philip Pendlebury are part of the crew, along with a translator and a fixer. They were reporting on escalating tensions between local authorities and the pro-Kurd Workers' Party. The four were reportedly accused by Turkish authorities of having links to the Islamic State group, according to Amnesty International. They were also accused of close contact with the Kurdistan Workers' Party or PKK militants. Yeah, Erdogan, who of course is the leader of Turkey, has gone too far. Now, this guy for a long time has been a thorn in our side, and he's been a bad actor in the fight against ISIS. But this is the straw that broke the camel's back here. So Erdogan has been saying for the longest time, oh, yes, we're totally going to fight ISIS, and we hate ISIS so much, and they're just the worst, aren't they? And then what has he done? Almost every time that he said that, he's proceeded to fight and bomb the Kurds. Now, some of you might be like, okay, well, what does that even mean? Well, what it means is he's fighting the people who are fighting ISIS. The Kurds are, one of the biggest forces in the region that are fighting against the Islamic State or ISIS, and they're doing it consistently. And then you have Erdogan, who's like, I assure you, Turkey is against ISIS, we're against the Islamic State, which is why we're going to bomb the people who are fighting them and who are the biggest force against them. Now, don't get me wrong, every once in a while they will do a bombing here or there against ISIS as well, but it's clear that they do care more about fighting back against the Kurds. For those of you who don't know the history of the region, for the longest time, the Kurds have wanted independence from Turkey. I think about 20% of the population of Turkey are Kurds. They face discrimination there. They face this widespread feeling of like, oh, they're not like us. They're a minority community within Turkey, and they're viewed in a negative light. And basically, Erdogan is using the fight in the region as an excuse to continue to crack down on Kurds and continue to go after anybody who he even views as sympathetic to Kurds. And that's exactly what's going on here. They're going, oh, you're in the media? I don't give a shit. Erdogan has been functioning as an authoritarian leader for a while now. I mean, he's doing the old Vladimir Putin trick, which is, oh, my time as prime minister is up, well, now I'm going to go be president, and oh, look at that, before the position was symbolic, and now I just gave it more powers. Oh, now I'm done with being president, now I'm going to go back to being prime minister. And you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Erdogan's done the same thing. Well, I'm prime minister, and I have all the power, and oh, now I'm going to go be president, and when I'm president, I know it's symbolic, but oh, look, I just somehow was able to give myself more power. And he's been functioning as an authoritarian leader, and he doesn't give a single solitary fuck about freedom of the press. He doesn't give a single solitary fuck about civil liberties. And he's that brazen now to the point where he'll arrest Vice reporters and say about them, terrorists. We're arresting them for terrorism, for aiding terrorists. And then also, he manages to contradict himself within that. Because the Turkish government says they're working with ISIS. And they're working with the PKK, the Kurdish fighters. So they're working with ISIS, and they're working with their enemies. So they're working with both sides. Which is it? They're terrorists. They're terrorists. They're fighting the terrorists, and they're fighting the Kurds also. But they're on the side of the ISIS and the Kurds. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. That's the thing. They don't even bother to try to make sense in their accusations against Vice reporters. No, you know what's really happening here? What's happening is, I guarantee you, the Vice reporters on the ground are realizing exactly what I said before, which is that the Turkish government is using the fight against ISIS as an excuse to actually fight the Kurds who are fighting ISIS. So they're de facto, default helping ISIS. So the Vice News reporters have probably realized that, and they have footage of that, and they have a story to tell that's exactly like that, and the government says, no, I can't allow this to get out. I can't allow the rest of the world to know that I care more about fighting the Kurds than I do about fighting ISIS. So you're terrorists. We're going to put you in jail.